sky, foreground, and this side FG. Again, if you take a general reading, neither is the sky good nor is the foreground good. The details are lacking, mostly. And especially so when the light is little stronger. When the light is soft, on the overcast days we don't have a problem. On overcast days, the contrast is not so much, so the camera can manage. It is when the light is strong. So if I expose for the sky correctly by taking the camera up, taking the reading from here, then this will go down. If I point the camera down, take the reading from here, then this will get washed out. Now, what do I do? It's very simple. First, I select the aperture I want to use. Since it's a landscape, let us assume that I am going to use f11. So at f11, what is my shutter speed coming for the sky? Put the camera up. Let's say it is 250. 250 seconds. 1 upon 250 seconds. For the ground, again you got to have the same f11. You cannot change that. And since dark, let us say it is coming to 1 by 30 seconds. So how much difference? 1 by 30 to 1 by 60, 1 by 125, 1 by 250. Sometimes it may be more. I am just taking an example. It could be 1 by 15, it could be 1 by 8. Now, using your camera preferably on a tripod, you take two shots. One at f11 250, one at f11 1 by 30. Later on, we can blend them together. This is called HDR, High Dynamic Range Imaging. HDR, High Dynamic Range Imaging. By doing this trick, we can get back what our camera cannot capture in one single exposure. So when HDR imaging is very, very important, there are people who don't like it, and there are reasons for that. When you do an HDR, lot of detail comes out of the dark area and it looks false. But it is very simple method to tone down those things again when you are knowing about it. Several of my pictures are HDR. Nobody has ever told me that these are HDR because you got so much. I can tone down the details which I don't want again and keep as much as I want. So, for an HDR, you require a minimum of 2 exposures. 3 would be even better because you can take one for the highlights, one for the shadows, and one for the midtones. So, you can take 3 frames: shadows, highlights, and midtone. You can take 5 frames. So, normally what we do plus, you do 0, -2, and +2. 3 stops. So there is this bracketing function on your camera. Every camera has it. You must see where it is. So when you set that, and you can say, I want to fire 3 frames, you can have a choice. How many frames you want? 3, 5, 7. And how many stops different? 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops. So you set that. Normally this is what we put. 0, -2, and +2. And then shoot. Now, several times, as I told you, you must have a tripod. What if you don't have a tripod? So if your camera is going to have a fast burst speed, then you can do it because your hand is not going to shake so much between. It will just, in less than a second, you are going to fire 3 frames, less chance of your hand movement. So that is also possible. Now here's another one trick. I have often seen that when you do this +2 overexposes the highlights too much. 2 stops of overexposure sometimes is too much for the bright areas. So what I do, and I learned this from my friend Mr. Ashok Kandimala, who is a joint writer with me in my office. So I set my camera to this setting, bracketing to -2, 0 and +2, but I set my exposure compensation to -1. I set my exposure compensation to -1. So what happens? Your 0 becomes -1, -2 becomes -3, and +2 becomes +1. Isn't it? Now, with this, I find that the brightest of the highlights, this is from the highlights now. Highlights will remain correct, shadows come extra, middle tones come correct. So I shoot this way.